Broadcasts of Hiki No are made possible by the support of viewers like you. Mahalo. And by Bank of Hawaii Foundation, investing in Hawaii's future by promoting collaboration, critical thinking, and other 21st century skills through Hiki No.
Next on Hiki No, stories from across the island chain.
I always knew my dad wasn't really in favor of it, but he knew that I was doing what I thought was best for me.
Find out why a high school senior has decided to stay in Hawaii after his family moved out of state.
Learn about the hidden history buried beneath the hills of Kalaheo, Oahu. Also, see how students from Kamehameha School's Kapalama on Oahu are using modern technology to perpetuate ancestral Hawaiian knowledge. We visit a tofu factory in Honolulu, Oahu, and the family that has owned and operated the company for 3 generations.
And learn the recipe for making nutrient-rich garden compost.
And examine Maui's film industry and its impact on the island's economy. All in this episode of Hiki No, coming to you from Lahaina Intermediate School on Maui, home of the KLDE. That's next on the nation's first statewide student news network, Hiki No. Can do! Aloha and welcome to Lahaina Intermediate School, home of the KLDE. We're located on the west side of Maui, right below Lahaina Luna High School and right above Princess Nai'enaena Elementary. The school opened in 1978 with an administration building and 1 portable. Approximately 120 students were enrolled that year. Our campus has grown to 8 buildings and 13 portables. We now have 640 students enrolled in grades 6 through 8. Our first story takes us to Honolulu, Oahu, where one Damien Memorial student has decided to remain at Damien, even after his family decided to move out of the state.
Zachary Kasberg, a senior at Damien Memorial School, has decided to stay at Damien for his senior year. Following his brother's footsteps, this optimistic student is looking forward to graduating with his fellow classmates. Everything is going well except one thing. He is doing all of this without the physical support of his family. Zachary's father has been in the military for most of Zachary's life. His family is constantly moving, causing he and his brothers to change schools.
Well, my dad recently retired from the Air Force, and so now he works for Rolls-Royce in Indianapolis.
These past 4 years were a journey for him, meeting different people and making new friends. Damien Memorial School has influenced Zachary greatly, always pushing him to do better and guiding him in the right direction. When it came time for his family to move away from Hawaii, Zachary decided to stay.
We had a lot of talks about it, you know, and in the end it just came down to, did I really want to do this? And the answer to me was yes, so they let me do it.
Although it was difficult deciding on whether to stay in Hawaii, he knows his family supports his decision to stay.
I always knew my dad wasn't really in favor of it, but he knew that I was doing what I thought was best for me, so.
Zachary is currently living with his close friend, Ernie Cornia IV, and his family. The two of them met through basketball during their freshman year, while Ernie's father, Ernie Cornia III, was one of the coaches.
So one day he basically Zach came up to me in school and said that he really wanted to graduate here and that he might have to move back to Indiana with his parents, knowing that he was going to leave, and Zach just felt that it was the right thing to do to stay, even though he's leaving his parents, so I must have been really hard on him.
What happened was Uncle Ernie came to me, and because he knew I wanted to stay, but so he offered to me first and said, if you need a house, then you can come live with me.
Zachary's choice to stay at Damien required him to put his trust in the Cornia family to fulfill the new void in his life. Because of this decision, Zachary now faces new challenges and has taken on many new responsibilities.
One of the big differences between living with my parents here and living with Uncle Ernie is anything that I want to get done, I can't just ask my mom, you know, I got to do it myself.
On May 24, 2015, Zachary and Ernie will be graduating alongside their fellow classmates. They will be part of the class of 2015, the school's last all-male division. After their commencement, they will enter a new chapter of their lives. Whatever the future may hold, for now, their friendship is like family. This is Casey Kimoto from Damien Memorial School for Hikino.
And we're back here on the campus of Lahaina Intermediate School, where the Renaissance program is a big part of our school. Lahaina Intermediate School's Renaissance program started in 1993 by the Student Community Council to acknowledge the students and staff through reinforcement, recognition, and rewards. The goals of Renaissance are to increase student performance, teacher enthusiasm, and raise the level of community participation by students. Our Renaissance program has several ways of recognizing students with rewards, such as the Imo Award to recognize students who have demonstrated the value of the month, the Up Yours Award to students who have improved their GPA, and KLE Pride Awards for good deeds. Student Staff of the Month awards are given to 2 staff members and 2 students in each grade level. Our next story takes place on Oahu, where students from Kalaheo High School explore a World War II bunker buried in the hills behind their community.
Looking at Kailua Town, you wouldn't necessarily know there was a World War II bunker still in use today. But right in our backyards, buried in the hillside, lies Battery 405, fortified with years of intriguing history.
So right after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the government figured that we needed more protection in Hawaii around the coastline, and they built this bunker and other bunkers as part of the Seacoast Defense System. This bunker was actually built in 1943 after the bombing of Pearl Harbor.
Bunker 405 was built with 2 of the guns that came off the ships at Pearl Harbor.
When you take a ship gun and put it on land, the gun needs an elaborate cement slab all the way around the gun to disperse the shock wave.
Guns fired at sea have enough power to move the entire ship several feet through the water, so you can only imagine the repercussions of firing a gun like that on land.
Outside here, the gun had a little building over the top of it, and the entrance to the bunker had a building over the top of it, and both buildings had a Japanese motif to it. And in those days, the idea the United States government had is if the guns were disguised like a Japanese village, that the Japanese wouldn't bomb this facility.
The main infrastructure of Bunker 405 was accompanied by another bunker at higher elevation called Fire Control. Up at this bunker, men would be scanning the horizon for threats.
And he would have these books back then. One was all the shapes of the different ships of all the countries in the world, and the other was the shapes and the types of airplanes and aircraft.
With the help of these logbooks, someone would be able to identify any plane that might have flown in the sky. Having fulfilled its purpose in World War II, the bunker was decommissioned in 1950.
The man that had it from 1950 when it was decommissioned to 2000 grew mushrooms here. His name was Ron Dizeroth, and his hobby was growing mushrooms. He obtained 2 specific patents for certain types of mushrooms in Hawaii.
Gary met Ron at a local restaurant in Kailua and was invited to visit the bunker.
And I thought that this would be a really great place to have a data center or a place to back up data.
Backed by Weller's determination and his dedication to put the bunker to good use, Battery 405 will soon be a fully functioning digital archive system.
We started a process of cleaning the bunker out, putting in new electric, computer floor. The first room is complete now, and we're starting to market the data center.
Upon its completion, the bunker will sit on Kalaheo Hillside as a symbol of Kailua's strength and resilience. This has been Ashley Stankovitz from Kalaheo High School for Hikino.
We're back at Lahaina Intermediate School on the island of Maui. Students here can participate in our Partners in Living and Learning Renaissance program by having 4 hours of community service, having good behavior, and getting no D's or F's on their quarterly report cards. Partners earn gold, silver, or bronze cards that offer discounts at over 40 local businesses. They also earn quarterly rewards days such as Wet n Wild, Games and Grinds, and Lahaina Beach Bash. We recently celebrated Wet n Wild in late October, where qualifying students spent the day on our PE field playing fun games, getting wet, and eating Ono foods. Our next story takes place on Oahu, where students from Kamehameha School's Kapalama are using modern tools and technology to perpetuate Hawaiian ancestral knowledge.
Oiai, he kula ho'okahua no nā po'e Hawaii, a ole o Kamehameha e pu'ili ka olelo nā ike a me nā hana ma loko o nā lumi papa. I keia mau la, ho'ololi I keia a kea kamai a nui ka hame'e o ka enehana no ka ola a ka ho'omau ana I nā hana mai ka wā kahiko. I ko kākou lohe ana I ka hua o lelo o enehana, ho'omana o kākou e pili ana I nā kame puila a me nā lopako a ka he mana o laula no ke kahi mau enehana pu.
To me, technology is anything that makes my life easier. Anything that assists me in whatever I'm doing at the moment.
I kēia la, hiki a kako ke ohana ka enehana e kokoia mākou me ko mākou no hana Hawaii ma o ka hana ho'omālahi ai ka hana mai ka homaka ana hiki ka pau ana I ka hana no e au like ole. E like me ka papakui ai, hiki a kako ke hana I ke kahi ko'i me ka hau. Aole ke ko'i me ka pohaku e like me ke ko'i hana ia na kupuna no leila. Laki kākou I ke au nei loa na mea hou na ponohana wila. And he mea kokua ia no kākou e hoa hana ho maalahi ai ka kākou hana.
Technology can be used in so many ways to help with Hawaiian culture. Like in my Hawaiian class right now, we're going over old stories, old conversations, stuff that's not around anymore, that we were lucky enough to have recorded and transferred over to digital form so that we can listen to it now and learn from it.
I think oia e ka maikai ke ia maula me ke la enehana no ka lolo wila. No ka mea hiki ke lawe ia ki loluele I o ia nei, so loa I na haumana ke ia mau mea. So ke lawe ia makahale au le ia he pilikia hiki ke kau maka lolo wila, hiki ke kau maka iPad paha, he hala, ina make.
Ke hana nei o nā kumu I nā hamea ho pela no nā keiki. E mana'o lana nā kumu e ho'okahi nā kahiko a me nā ho no ka ho'ononi a kahi ana o ka nohona Hawaii I nā ola o nā haumana.
There's a Hawaiian language TV station now, Oiwi TV. There's a Hawaiian language radio station that I listen to. Now it's great you can hear it in the hallways, and you can hear it on the radio, on the TV. It's great to just hear the language being spread again.
Pili na kanaka mai oa o ka hunua ma o ke enehana. O ka mea nui, o ka ninau nui no ka koa pau a ole no na haumana, but no na kanaka pau I ka honua. Pehea kako e malama I ko kako no hona, pehea e ho'o maua I ke la mea, pehea kako e ola I loko ke ia mea.
Ke ia ho'a ano pela kokua ko Kamehameha mau haumana, ho'opa'a pela nā leo o ko lākou kupuna e lohe. O wau o Mahealani Peskaya, mai ke kula o Kamehameha ma ka pālama no hiki no.
Welcome back to Lahaina Maui. Opportunity Rocks is a program at Lahaina Intermediate that helps our 8th grade students get an idea of possible career options for their future. Students visit one of 6 hotels on the west side of Maui, such as the Royal Lahaina Resort, where the event is held. Workers from several departments within the hotels explain what they do and describe what's required to accomplish their job. The program began 8 years ago when members of the hotel and visitors industry approached Lahaina Intermediate School with the idea, and we've participated every year since. We now take you to Aloha Tofu in Honolulu, where students from Mid-Pacific Institute meet the family who has owned and operated the factory for 3 generations.
Aloha Tofu has been serving our local community for decades. It all started in 1950 when Kame Seburo and Tsuruko Uehara agreed to take over a friend's tofu factory. The Ueharas had 1 week to learn a craft that some say takes a lifetime.
My grandparents started off in a little, tiny little room. Everything was done by hand, handmade.
Through the years, Aloha Tofu grew steadily with the help of business relationships that still exist today.
My grandfather was working with the Teruya brothers at Times Grill. As Times Market grew, he could grow with them.
They relocated twice but have been in their current location on Akepo Lane in Kalihi since 1976. Today, Aloha Tofu is the largest producer of tofu in Hawaii. They also offer traditional Japanese foods that include aburage, konnyaku, and natto.
You know, one of the best compliments we get is when we have Japanese tourists come here and they taste our product and they say, oh, it's natsukashi aji, so it's a very traditional flavor.
But after being handed down for 3 generations, Aloha Tofu faces a dilemma common to so many of today's small family businesses. Who will take over the business? Paul Uehara's 2 sons have never expressed interest in taking over the business. Paul's eldest son, Ken, is currently in college studying engineering, while his younger son, Kai, also has other plans.
No, I don't really see myself working in the factory. I don't have a big interest in working here.
Paul is willing to sell Aloha Tofu because he feels that any business that lasts for more than 1 or 2 generations has a greater obligation to its employees and the community. He is particularly concerned about his 26 full-time employees.
We basically operate for our employees and the customers. The idea is to perpetuate the company for future generations. We don't really consider the family as the core of what we do.
Although ownership of Aloha Tofu may not be handed down for a 4th generation, the company isn't going to go away anytime soon. This is Bailey Ogawa from Mid-Pacific Institute for Hiki No.
We're back at Lahaina Intermediate School on the island of Maui. The Lahaina Complex Tutor Project helps students in math, reading, and writing, and is staffed solely by community volunteers. This program was started 13 years ago by Pat and Richard Ensley at Lahaina Intermediate School with 20 tutors and 58 students in grades 6 and 7. The program has grown to include King Kamehameha III and Princess Nahiane'ena Elementary School, and tutors from Lahaina Luna High School. Students from grades 3 to 8 are eligible. The program now has 215 students and 122 volunteers participating in the program this year. We take you now to the Evan Mackay Middle School on Oahu, where students reveal the recipe for making nutrient-rich garden compost.
If you need help growing your plants, then these are 3 quick steps on making earthworm compost. Step 1. Get about 3 pounds of worms. If the worms are slimy, that means they're healthy. Step 2. The bin you got should have a divider covered in holes. Put your worms in your bin on one side of the divider. Then, fill your compost bin with dirt. Step 3. Place your worm food on the side with the worms. The worm food cannot be citrus, have bones, or be meat. Cut up fruits and vegetables are best for the worms to eat. Finally, cover your worm food with shredded paper, and then heavily water the whole bin. This is Taisha Gamakun from Evan Mackay Middle School for Hiki No.
Welcome back. We're here in Lahaina, Maui at the Sugarcane Train. The Sugarcane Train has been a popular tourist attraction on the west side of Maui for over 45 years, but took its last run on August 1st of this year. It has shut down due to lack of funds. The Sugarcane Train would run a 6-mile, 40-minute trip. Over 5 million tourists have ridden the train since the 1970s. There are reports that a Hawaii investor group is seeking to buy the train from its current owners, Robert and Kim Butler from Nebraska. For our next story, we'll stay on Maui as students from Maui High School examine the film industry and its effects on the island's economy.
I'm a salesperson, I'm a film veteran, a film professional, and I know every aspect of the business. So really, at the end of the day, it's my job to create jobs here and bring film and TV to Maui.
Tracy Bennett has become Maui's most recent film commissioner after 18 years of experience working in the film industry.
Well, Maui, is really trying to be more film-friendly. The state of Hawaii has always been a special place to film.
Besides the beautiful weather and the scenic backdrop, money may be attracting studios to bring their shoot to Maui.
We have a new tax incentive here, and it's 15% on Oahu and 25% on the neighboring islands.
This tax incentive comes in the form of a refund, and according to Bennett, this industry has contributed $67 million to Maui's economy in the last 5 years. But the competition for these dollars is getting harder.
Oahu gets a lot of business because that's, people just think of Hawaii, they think of going to Oahu. But the reason that we have a bigger tax incentive now is to bring those companies here.
Bennett believes the initial investment to lure producers to Maui will have a bigger and lasting return.
And it's very important for us to roll out the red carpet for companies that want to film here, because it does bring a lot of money and creates jobs and opportunities for people, and especially education for young people like yourself to get some experience from people who are veterans in the business.
By developing another industry on the island, Mayor Arakawa hopes to diversify the economy.
To encourage the film industry will allow us to balance our economy so that if one is failing, the other one will be able to excel. And we need to have balance within our economy so that we can always be safe. The more we have studios, the more business we'll have, and the more people in our community will have jobs. I believe that in the long run, it'll eclipse the tourist industry.
According to Mayor Aokawa, the expanding of the film industry will create jobs, build a tourist industry, and contribute to Maui's economy. This is Anissa Kasabe from Maui High School for Hiki No.
Hiki No is now on Instagram. For show updates and a peek behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram at Hiki No. Can do. Welcome to Black Rock at Ka'anapali Beach, located on the west side of Maui. Black Rock is a prominent rocky peninsula at the north end of the beach. It is also a popular attraction for both tourists and locals alike. It is shared by everyone for all the fun activities like paddling, swimming, surfing, and there is even a cove that's popular for snorkeling. There are many different spots at Black Rock to jump off of, but its highest peak reaches at 17 feet. To jump off one of these ledges is a new and thrilling experience for those who visit.
Well, we've come to the end of this episode of Hiki No.
Remember, all these stories were written, shot, and edited by students like us. We hope you enjoyed watching them as much as we've enjoyed sharing them with you. And make sure to tune into next week's episode for more proof that Hawaii students, Hiki No, can do.
Broadcasts of Hiki No are made possible by the support of viewers like you. Mahalo. And by Bank of Hawaii Foundation, investing in Hawaii's future by promoting collaboration, critical thinking, and other 21st century skills through Hiki No.